Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Help!
Here,
Oh,
take my hand.
ah!
Come on. You're gonna fall unless you take my hand.
No, give me your other hand.
Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand.
No, get it away from me!
Take it. Take my hand.
After a big afternoon of shopping, there's nothing better than some Mexican food and a nice little drink. Come on down and enjoy a nice Mexican fiesta.
Guess what? We took everything you love about the Bloomin' Onion and created a menu you've never seen before.
Let me hear you say, Bloom that ass. Bloom that ass.
This Bloomer
Good. I said good morning, everybody, before I unceremoniously had myself muted. How are you? Bit chilled this morning. A little bit chilly. Got the hoodie on. Barely woken up. And frantically getting this piece ready in time for the stream. A little bit lazy this morning. The return of Darth Bogantus. As you guys enter your summer, we enter our winter, and the hood comes back on. It's my little comfort zone as I work. That is awesome, says Cranberry at Langes. It's pretty dope. I'll take you through it, and we will start. I guess we're going to have to start flatting. It's going to be interesting with these little glass shards. How I'm going to color them, which will be interesting because that's what's on the big double page spread as well. So I think, yeah, I've got some ideas about how I'm going to do that. I saw Rod was in here earlier. This will look a little bit different to what he sent me, and I'll explain why in a second. Before that, Mark is back extending his lead to unreachable limits. And good on him. Why not? I'm going to pop him up there. 29, almost at 30. What else do we have in here? Who's joined us on this lovely morning? We got Valley Law in the house. He was fifth. Well, I mean, fifth comment. Second. I mean, not even counting me. Give himself second. Hail Mo Biggs. The Golden Wrench. Amanda 23rd. Now you're just making up numbers. There he is. Hey. Rod is starting to pick up on his channel. He got over 500 subs. And he says he's going to start streaming. You'd love to see it. But he's not here now. You'll probably watch this later. Cranberry Langers, take my small hand. What's up, Jolly? Great to see you back in the chat. The huge forehead, indeed. So we're about the same temperature 2 times a year. Yeah, I think so. It's like a broken clock. We both align. So, I mean, don't ask me what the Fahrenheit is. At the moment, it's sort of just cool in the morning, and then it gets kind of like not warm, you know, throughout the day. Not warm, but pleasant. You can wear a thin jumper. You would call it a sweater. And you're perfectly fine. We're never the same temperature as Australia because they're measured using commie degrees, not freedom units. Well, that's up for debate, Mo. All right, so what do we have here? This is the cover. This is Rod's cover. So there's going to be 2 covers. I toyed with the idea of hiring someone else, but really there was only a couple of people who I was thinking, and both of them are busy. So it's fine. Two variants is, or 2 covers is good, I think. I don't need to go overboard. And it looks like there's these empty areas on the side that aren't really empty. If you can kind of imagine, actually, I don't even want to make you imagine. I'm going to stop sharing that screen. So I bring the Bogan forehead large, and I'm going to share this screen. Where is it? Yeah. What does that look like? Yeah, just so you can sort of see that. Here's a little mock-up in InDesign. And I've actually rotated the image just because I felt like it fit better in the format. And it had that cool diagonal action line right across from corner to corner. And you can sort of see there the outline of how I've rotated the actual art there. So yeah, so some bits kind of, you know, needed filling in, other bits didn't. But that's essentially what's going on with that. Mo says, good news. I just got a notification for the stream. Well, better than no notification at all, Mo. Which is what sometimes does happen. Although I didn't upload a short yesterday, and I should have. But I was just busy. And I promised myself not to get too pedantic on the old upload schedule. Hoodie Bancroft is best Bancroft. Oh, looks like other people are getting notifications too. Thank you. Well, Red was really giving it to Rob yesterday. It was glorious to see. Poor Rob. He was copying it. And we love it. When is this going? We're going live again. I'm thinking June. I usually go live in June for a book. Because what happens is if I go live in June and then I don't receive the money until July, that's our tax thing. So that gives me the full year of taxes. So, you know, and I mean, this is a lot shorter book. It's only 32 pages. So, you know, compared to the other ones, and all the art will be done. And so it's really all on me and getting the colors done. So I don't expect it to go the full year, but you never know. What's up, Crenshaw? Hello, Signor Bencrofto and chat pals. I love giving it to Rob until it hurts. Oof. Yeah, be careful. You know, fighting monsters. You might get chafing. All right, so I think I pretty much just have to. Whoa, don't want to do that. Let's put that where? Here. There we go. What I'm doing, I have to flat it, which hopefully won't take too long, because I would like to start actually on some colors. I did say I was coloring. Right, yep, good. El Maestro. Thank you, yes. Hold on a sec, I got a weird thing here. Stat says, once I read them, I'm probably going to do a Lucent stream where I do a bit of art inspired by it. Well, I would love to see that, Stat. I would absolutely love it. I had a very, very nice comment yesterday. Should I bring it up? Read it? You know, Rob always says I big myself up too much. But it's actually others doing it, and I'm just relaying the message. Where was it? Here it is. I'm gonna stop sharing again. You kind of need these little moments, as you're working away day by day, struggling. Comics Bulletin asks, what comics are you reading? Who's Comics Bulletin? Do I know them? I don't know if I do. The front page of Comics and Culture. I love it. Bold. Been a trusted voice in comics for 25 years. Probably not on Twitter, though, because I only have 500 followers, but somewhere else, maybe. Pixel Trader says, after a long delay, I finally read the first issue of The Lucent. Absolutely brilliant storyteller. I'm ashamed I waited as long as I did. Ellie says, oh, Pixel Trader, he's blind. Don't worry about it. We got Raiden, Radiant House. Raiden also did probably, I think, my favorite ever review of The Lucent. I watch it every 6 months or so just because I love his videos. I love his way that he does them. Yeah. I hope you like it, Stat. I hope you do. That's always good to wake up to. I put this on Twitter. I think I said this yesterday, but the trading cards are at the printer. They said they'll probably be able to get to them on the 3rd. They said they will be able to get to them on the 3rd. So you would imagine they'd take too long to print. Either way, I'm kind of sitting for around a mid-April fulfillment. That's sort of where I'm shooting. But also I needed mailers, I needed polybags, I needed sleeves. Spared no expense. Oh, and I've got that. This is the inside of the little folding card thing that I'm gonna put them in. So then you don't just get them in like a plastic sleeve. You'll actually have some sort of branded thing. I was telling Camel yesterday, you can't do the normal trading card little plastic bag thing that you open up. It was like $6 each. I thought that was a bit exorbitant. A bit too much. Too rich for my blood. What's up, Grey Wolf? Great to see you here. All right. Now, I've got my secondary file here that I can pick colors from. Just going to start going to town. What do I do first? How about we do some of these crates? Get some crate action. You will love it. Now, I think I'm just going to go at it ham and do the details later. Damn it. I've already stuffed up. I can feel Kyle Ritter judging me that time that he came on and saw I was using anti-aliasing. Still have PTSD from that. A bit exorbitant when welcome Rob Arnold into the stream. I know. I was like, is that a word? It's early mo. That's my excuse. Yeah, I'm just gonna Do the details later. Big shapes, little shapes. That's how you're flat. Although I will mask this one in. Whenever you say a word that isn't a word, I sort of stop and I go, is that right? Did I make a fool of myself yet again? It happens. Luckily, there's only 20 of you beautiful people here watching, so most of you won't know. But yeah. Yes, once more. Adam Moon says, Mo, that should pacify Kyle. Well, unfortunately, we're inside here. This was Rod's concept, by the way. I didn't give him any guidance or anything. I said, go for it. Just do what you think is right. And he gave me 3 sort of rough pencil concepts, and I thought this was the best one of them. Very indicative of not only what takes place in the book, but also, I love having Ella falling. And that's actually going to be, it's not something you explain, but it's something that I touch on in the narration in the first couple of pages. I like the idea that Ella is falling or floating or something, not feet on the ground, essentially, on every cover. I like the continuity of it. Originally, this crate here was up here, but I had to move it because that's where the logo is going. And I thought it actually works if they're all kind of tumbling down here. Stat's going to go walk his dog. Have a great day, Stat. I've been enjoying the, what's he call them? Prompt drawing. He's got the wheel streams. There's so many windows open here. I can't find anything. Issue 4, Ella slips on a banana peel and falls into a produce cart. That's kind of more like issue 87, That's when you're like, oh, the wheels are falling off here. They're running out of different ways to have her fall. I think we're going to get there. Thankfully. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, even though these are outlines, I am going to color them eventually as though they're flat planes of glass. But yeah, it's a great concept. I love it. You got Damon sort of flying in. Is he attacking her? Kind of. Is it malicious? Read the book to find out, Enjoy that walk time. I never enjoyed walking the dog. Also, we had a really lazy dog. She was a rescue. We got her after she was already racist, I promise. And she was lazy. But we figured, she had such a hard life at the start of her life. We're not going to push her. She didn't want to walk. I didn't want to walk her. So we came to a mutual understanding. She was just going to lie on the bed for the rest of her days. And that's exactly what happened. Mo says Bancroft only enjoyed walking his dog through Chinatown. That would be like sensory overload. I'm just kind of glad that Georgie went to doggy heaven before the influx of, 1 million Chinese exchange students. She would have looked at me and it's like, I don't even know this country anymore, Yeah, she would have taken that to the steps of Parliament and taken a big dump on it. We never found out the source of her prejudices, but pretty clear. For anyone who hasn't heard the story, my best friend's dad was Chinese, and Georgie liked everyone except him, and he never did anything to her, ever. I mean, there was nothing. He didn't even. All he ever did was sort of walk up kind of close to the house to call, his son home for dinner or whatever, because he wouldn't be able to get close, because Georgie would just start going rabid. Georgie's brushed with the Chinese and what was left of it. I know, right? And it really was. I mean, she was probably 12 at that point. No, maybe not 12, maybe 10. Because I remember we did take her to the other house. So she must have. Because dogs don't live that long. They live, what, till 12, 13, 14, if you're lucky. Although I think the smaller the dog, the longer they live. I think that's sort of how it goes. Yeah. All he ever did was pet her with his 12 secret herbs and seasonings. He was an excellent cook, by the way. They would do the I don't know what it's called, like a hot pot or something, with all the different Chinese noodle flavors. That was good. Good times. Dogs can pick up some stuff that's not said too. Maybe the guy was sketchy. No, he wasn't at all. He was a lovely man, a good father. Very nice. He was a scientist. He was a Chinese scientist working in a lab. I don't know what he was up to in there. But it wasn't Wuhan. He's retired now. All right. Let's do some Ella. Hot pot. Yeah. Perhaps Trump was too hasty, says Mo. Dogs would literally chase me as a kid, says Cranberry. I would be incredibly peaceful too. So there you go. Yeah, my grandmother had a friggin' sausage dog. What are they called? Dachshund? I don't know. Whatever they are, sausage dogs. That thing was vicious. It mauled me as a child, and because it's a little sausage dog, and the bite didn't even break the skin, because it's a little sausage dog. No one cared. No one came to my rescue. I felt so betrayed. I don't know how old I was. Probably like 5, 6. And this thing was just attached to my arm and I couldn't get it off. And it was going crazy. I've hated sausage dogs ever since. I didn't do anything to it. I was just sitting there. Wiener dogs. Dachshund. Yeah, I think some people call them Dachshunds and some people call them Dachshunds. I don't know. I think there's a controversy over that. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is I hate them. And I've since found out, I think that's kind of a normal thing for them. They have kind of little dog syndrome where they get really aggressive. I don't like little dogs particularly at all, actually, in general. Not the last time Bangkok went crazy over a wiener, says Mo. I wasn't the one who went crazy. It went crazy on me. I was the innocent victim of this outrageous attack. No one knows why Bancroft is so dog racist. There's a history there. My mother tried to rescue, I'd say probably 5 dogs over, my childhood. A lot of them as well, they weren't really hers. She would just feed them and they would, hang around. We loved that as a kid. But the other ones, she would actually go to the kennel and rescue them. And Georgie wasn't a rescue from the kennel. We rescued her from extended family. And they all went bad. Like, we had to put them down. They were disturbed, which is unfortunate. But now she actually has had, I don't know, 4 or 5 rescue dogs, and they're all good. She's a Labrador. She likes Labradors and Greyhounds because they banned Greyhound racing in Victoria, so all these dogs had to go somewhere. It was literally the end of dog racing. If anyone gets that reference. Crenshaw says, I was scared of dogs when I was a kid and they knew it. Yeah, my daughter is exactly the same for no reason. And then one day she said, oh, it's because I got bitten by a dog. And I'm like, no, you didn't. So she's got some kind of, maybe she dreamt it or she just daydreamed it or whatever. And it's sort of in her psyche now. God knows when that happened. Dogs have never been anything but pleasant with her, but she's scared of them. Flaming stupid dogs, says Cranberry. Ellie says, I love dogs. They're the best peoples. Dogs are great. I like the big ones. If I were to get a dog, I would probably get a Rottweiler. They're expensive, though. If you get a pure breed dog, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. And I had friends who had a Rottweiler and a Dalmatian. Not only did they eat him out of house and home, but one of them had a twisted stomach, and it was like $20,000, I think, by the end. I don't have that kind of dog cash lying around. So yeah, we don't have dogs. We know what happened to the cat. Well, we don't, but you can guess. Rottweiler. Now that's a twist. Bancroft after another BBC, by which he obviously means a big black canine. Are they black or are they dark brown? I guess he's kind of splitting hairs at that point. Both. Yeah. You don't want them too dark. Nice chestnut brown. No, I don't think it's. I don't think that's on the Rottweiler cards. Mel, I've talked about this a bunch of times. Mel's parents used to have a German Shepherd, but not just a regular old German Shepherd. It was an absolute beast in terms of size. He was a very lovely dog, but he was like a bear. It's one of those kind of, I wouldn't say it had long hair, but thick hair. It was like and he had a massive head. You know, people would cross the road when he'd come towards them because he was just so big. What's up, Valley Law? I have 2 Belgian Malinois. They're very smart. I'm going to look them up. They sound big. I mean, with Belgian in front of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Herding dogs. Well, all herding dogs are the smartest dogs. Oh, they come in all kinds of colors too. What color are yours, Valley Law? Because I can see black, sort of a light brown, dark brown, black mix, and then another weird one that looks fluffy. Yeah, we have Australian sheep. I think Australian sheepdog and Kelpie are 2 of the smartest breeds in the world. Yeah, they're obviously bred for their job. A black and a brown one. There you go. Colors of the diversity rainbow. I can't even remember why we got started talking on dogs now. But we're here now. Oh, right. Yes, I was talking about Georgie. Dogs don't see color, Bancroft. Well, you say that. I have a dog that might beg to differ. I had a dog. I don't have him now. We all float down here, Georgie, says Ellie. Yeah, Georgie's in doggy heaven, begrudgingly having to mix with all the other dogs from around the world. Not happy about it. She's like, I suffered enough in life. Dogs can see blue and yellow. Georgie focused primarily on the latter. We don't judge. You know. Kirby says, we fostered a little dog briefly. My colleague at work is doing that right now. It sounds like a lot of work and, you know, the dog's really sick. I mean, you know, bless her for doing that. So I'm just like, I got my own problems, man. No, good on her. She got a sick bulldog that they're trying to nurse back to health so they can find a family for it. Because at the moment, ain't no one taking it. Grumpy says, I got 99 problems and a female dog ain't one. Ellie says, my dog sniffed out a mice nest. When I lifted the cover, it was like a secret of nymph. They scattered everywhere. We have mice that live underneath our tool shed. We leave them be. We occasionally see Nugget back there trying to, sniff them out. But Nugget wasn't the best hunter that I was aware of. Valley Law says, I don't adopt. Nobody wants a used dog. Well, my mother does. I mean, I don't know if they're abandoned. I don't know. They're at the... We have the RSPCA here, the Royal Society for the Protection Against the Cruelty of Animals, which is a mouthful. But yeah, you never know what you're going to get with a mutt, essentially. Henry adopts feral cats, bets ratters and mouses you'll have. Well, what was going on with Nugget? He would just sit there and watch as birds and other cats would eat his food if we had it outside. Things would run around. Just sit there. It's someone else's problem. Nugget wasn't feral. You neutered your neighbor's kitten and tossed him to the Haitians. No, he was, because we saw a female that was the spitting image of Nugget. Spitting image running about up the top of the street. So there must have been a litter. We assume, it's our only what other conclusion can we draw? When it says, I've always liked dogs. My little brother used to be scared of them as a kid, but he loves them now. Yeah, I think you do kind of... I think what happens is a lot of times people meet dog people and, you just need to meet the right dog. I say that about rats too. You just need to meet the right rat and, you become a rat person. You get over the tail. You get over the gnawing. Speaking of rats, did anyone see the post that John's Longbox made? The photos of him, 1921 stories under New York. That's really cool. I feel like there's a story there, You could almost set it like some mutant amphibians living under under New York. Make $1 billion. Valley Law says, Bancroft, you just need the right man. Well, you know, with a dog, you know, you just kind of hanging out, give him a rub behind the ear, pat on the back. Is that what you do with the man? I feel like there's more. I feel like there's more to it than that. Plus, I don't know if my wife would appreciate that, Valley Law. You know, she had a say in it. Henry says, yeah, the New York Underground is fascinating. It's crazy. There's like a whole world under the feet. It's, you know, I like to picture it like Lex Luthor, you know, in his palace under the city. Henry says, my dad used to explore the storm tunnels under LA when he was a kid, but they're nothing like the tunnels in New York. Have you ever seen that? It's like a time-lapse video of New York coming up from being a little, you know, town on the side of a river to what it is today. It's just sort of built on top of everything else. It's like it's like the pyramids now. You know? Maybe that's how they address the rising house prices, the rising apartment prices. They open up the underground. You know, with screen technology now, it doesn't even have to look like it's underground. You just have windows that are video screens. Like pyramids built atop of giant pillars. Exactly. That's what it's like. I mean, 20 stories down is a long way, and that's probably not even the bottom. I mean, what is at the bottom? What's down? I would love to ask John that. He's coming on, not to, we can chat about this when he comes on. Is that next week? I think it is. He's launching his next book. How is there a time-lapse video? It's a it's like I don't think they had video back in 1624. It's not a real video. It is a video that plays, but it's an animation. You know, someone made a thing. It was interesting. It's really I was trying to get at. "600 meters down, it's about 110 Fahrenheit, and it's also under a water table." These just sound like engineering issues, you know? Bit of air conditioning, bit of sealants. Someone can figure it. I mean, it's got to be surely with you know, real estate what it is, the price. You could live on that was the whole thing about Lex Luthor. He had that, you know, and it was Metropolis, so it wasn't actually New York, but you know, that kind of Madison Avenue address down. There are entire subway platforms under New York that are just abandoned. Yeah, and they're probably super cool too. Not like these newfangled ones. And have like it's like those. Have you seen those ones in Russia that look crazy? They're all preserved. No one wants to deal with the alligators, giant rats, and feral chuds. And that was Mo. It is written chuds, CHUD, with full stops. I don't know what that is referring to. But sure, it's something. Right. And Damon. There's an abandoned pneumatic train system. A pneumatic. Can you explain to me what pneumatic means, Moromi? And hello, welcome. I'm not familiar with that term. Ellie says the best theory I've heard since the pyramids were covering with limestone and topped with a gold tip. The mass with the water flowing created a piezoelectric electric effect, focusing the magnetic flux into the golden tip. It must have been a sight to behold. Yeah, we were chatting about this on Camels last night. How, the story, the official story out of Egypt just really doesn't make much sense. And it never did. There's just so much other evidence. Like I brought up the Valley of the Kings, where you actually see the burial chambers of kings and what they were like. They just weren't like anything that's in the pyramids. It would be pretty amazing if they could figure it out in our lifetime. Kind of not just a theory, but actually figure it out. Prototype Hyperloop. When was that built? Sounds like the monorail. Monorail. Piezzo. Thank you, Mo. I'm happy to have smart people in the chat who know things that I don't, which is pretty much everything. Never made sense. Are you telling me you've never met a man with the head of a jackal? Not yet. But I hope to one day. Yeah, the craziest thing I learned was that, and I don't pretend to understand what the Force is or what it's even about, but just the kind of the natural kind of frequency, or what is it? I don't know. It's kind of like it has its own pulse. The pyramid structure does, just from the size of it and the way it was designed, and the different chambers and everything, which is like, that's interesting. Actually, I'll color that in. Hello, Henry Thrune. Ellie says the pyramid stones were poured from geopolymer, as in they weren't quarried. Is that what you're saying? Mo's got to head out. Hal Mo. I hope to see you tomorrow. We're gonna help Michael launch the new Elysian Fields, which I have to read. He sent me a advanced copy so I could know a little bit about it. I could have given him some feedback. Just been so busy with everything. Right, 20 minutes left. Can I do it? Can I make it? Hopefully. I won't be able to get all the paper colored in, but at least I hope to get Damon done. There was quarrying. This is Ellie again, but they used something to make it liquid, transported it. Lots of other megalithic sites have scoop marks. I saw a guy. He was talking about how the foundation stones to a lot of these megalithic sites are not as smooth as what's sitting above them. Like that's the single foundation stone, and he postulated that so they would cut that as well as they could, and then they would put a paste on top of that. And he says he found evidence of the residue from this paste, in between a lot of these stones. So they would lay them with paste, and then they'll put and they would quarry another stone, and they'll put that on there, and the paste would melt the stone, sort of have a chemical reaction and fuse them together, and that's how they got them perfectly flat, and sort of they start bulging and melt and everything like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but whatever they were doing is something that we're not doing currently. That's for sure. But that's interesting. Sort of like they would turn rock into a kind of a cement, I guess. Honestly, I think it's a drainage system drilled under the pyramids to prevent sinking. Be boring. I do know that they for a long time they've always known that there was a well, like they call it like a sacred well underneath the pyramids, and Graham Hancock said that's why it was built there over the top of that. But I don't know what he bases that on. Kremby says, no, I feel they had more advanced technology in more elements other than plastics and metals. Could be. Another thing they had that we don't have anymore is the will to do extraordinary things that don't make any sense. Well, don't make kind of like what we would consider today as financial sense. Everything now has to, has to be profit in it, which is good for, advancing civilization, but it's not fantastic for building awesome, crazy things that last thousands and thousands of years. Nothing we've built really that's big is going to last 5,000 years or something. And they built small things, maybe, which is a shame. Even just, I said this a bunch of times as well, even just buildings now, they look so bad after 5 years. And I see people build, I see these companies build these buildings, and I look at it and I think that's going to look terrible, in 5 years. Whereas Europe is just full of buildings that are hundreds and hundreds of years old that only get better with age. It's like, it's just so disappointing that we just stopped caring, about that. Everything's about the now. And it's depressing. And I know it's intentional. Guarantee future work for yourself. Yeah, But there's flow-on effects that I don't think people are thinking about. You know, we sort of forgot that as a civilization, that the places that we live in actually matter to how we think about who we are and everything. They matter a lot. And there's a reason why France remains far and away #1 tourist destination and has for many, many years. You know, there's a reason for that. And I can tell you, it's not because of their pleasant demeanor or the vibrant, diverse people living in Paris at the moment. See you later, Henry. It's going to go work out. We have a fake pyramid in Tennessee. I think it's a Bass Pro Shop now. Yeah, I think I've seen that. You also have, I think in Kentucky. Correct me on that if you know. You guys also have a replica of the Pantheon, which is crazy. Originally, it was built for, you know, some exhibition, and it was just going to be the facade. But you know, it became so popular that they ended up actually building it for real, the interiors and everything. And now it's like I think it's a antiquities museum or something. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I want to go see it. I mean, that's rad. Because, you know, the Pantheon is all, it's ruins now if you go to the real one. But you can go see what it was in America. It's in Nashville. There you go. Thank you. I was taking a stab in the dark. It would have been so cool if I was right. I was like, oh wow, Bancroft knows things. No. Evidently not. We also don't have generations of builders passing on their knowledge to subsequent generations either. Yeah, this stuff. I mean, we were just talking about it. We were just talking about the pyramids. And it's the same all over the world where they built these amazing megaliths. And then you can see the generations afterwards struggling to recreate what their ancestors built. And they can't because the knowledge is lost. It's not passed down. It's not treasured, you know? And that's how we end up with. Sad, sad state of affairs, it tells you. It's actually called the Parthenon. Thank you, Grey Wolf. Yeah, I'm glad Michael Odin wasn't here to see that. He would punch me in the face. Bass Pro Shop Pyramid is in Memphis. I need to Google that. Look at this thing. That is crazy. Oh my God. That's insane. Huge inside. Cranberry says, Plungecast says they also wanted to leave a legacy that they as kings and queens were here, but look at South Africa. Their leaders are basically nothing of note. Yeah, it's really You know what is extra tragic about the whole thing is every generation, it seems, has to learn the same lesson over and over again. You know, everyone thinks they know best, they know better than everyone else. And we did the same thing. Like the whole COVID response thing, that was so nuts because they'd already figured out after the Spanish flu thing how to respond to a new virus that is spreading, like a pandemic level. They already figured it all out. They knew the best things to do, and they ignored every single protocol. You know, because obviously it wasn't about health; it was about other things. But it's just like it's so frustrating and crazy to see it all play out. Our music, our art, it suffers for it. It does. The biggest thing to me is the architecture. You know, that to me is because that's what we see that every day where we go around. Like that's what our cities look like. That's what our places we live look like. And it doesn't have to be demoralizing and depressing. It can be uplifting and make you, you know, feel things about who you are and your ancestors and everything, but they've completely just thrown all that out the window as if it's not worth anything, and it's so depressing. And it's especially weird because, like I said, we've known all this. I mean, you can see it. Like people want to go to places that are interesting and unique and have their own character, and those places are prized. But when people want to build new things, that is all thrown out the window. It's just it depresses me. Here in Melbourne, Melbourne was Art Deco. That's what it was since its inception, and it's amazing. And we still have a bunch of those buildings left, but not that many. And yeah, it's crazy. Now Melbourne is just ugly. Looks like everything else. You may as well be in any other city in the world. Yeah, it's the last thing they want you to think, says Crenshaw. I know. I know. What? I'll save that. That's where we started. That's where we're up to at the moment. Deep thoughts happening in the chat right now. I love to see it. I will also be isolating these pieces of paper. I might actually be able to get to it. I've got 10 minutes. I've got to separate what's paper and what's glass. Good, 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 good. If you want to be conspiratorial, you might also say that those in power want to disregard or forget the past because it's an argument against their future plans. I think there has been a globalist and continues to be a globalist conspiracy to, you know, undermine the power of the European West. That is a true thing. But also, I think a lot of the time, what's happening is just incompetence, lack of vision, and cowardice. I think a lot of that. I think that also explains a lot. That's why I think it's so amazing what is happening in the States at the moment. It's not happening anywhere else in the world. Anywhere. Maybe wherever. What is it, Argentina? But I mean, I think that's like a, that's going to be self-contained. Greed. Yeah, that's another one. Greed. Yeah, you get, when you lose that shared, societal faith or will or whatever you want to call it. I mean, and greed has always been there, obviously, but Turkey is collapsing as well. Is it? I had no idea. Also, archaeology shows what man is capable of. Our strengths. Nothing is isolated. Everything speaks to something else. That was Cranberry Lanches. Well, nowhere else in the world is there such a small difference between the power of the populace from those in charge. That is very true. And, we kind of deluded ourselves into thinking that we were the same here. But we just had a politician come out and say, we can't have American-style freedom of speech here because it would offend minorities, essentially. So we're gonna, our multicultural society is not up for debate, so we're not gonna have freedom of speech. And that's just like, there was always an implied freedom of speech here, never enshrined in law. And yeah, I mean, the problem with that is any government that doesn't want to defend it is just gonna say that and do that, and that's what we have, and that's all over the Western world now, except the US. It's crazy how far we've fallen. Like, if the US, that's why the US has to be preserved. That's why it's so important what Trump is doing. It's that famous Lincoln quote, the government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish on this earth. And it could, because if it goes there, there's nowhere else. Like, it's not gonna, the UK, forget about it. Australia, no way. Canada, please. Funnily enough, the kind of the people who took that torch and carried it forward are the old Eastern Bloc states, which is crazy. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them. I was never a Trump fan, says Ellie, as much as he was part of the New York culture, but he is the chosen one to save the Western world. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think I kind of saw that early on in him, that he felt like, because you get to a point where you're like, you wait and you wait and you wait, and you're just like, oh, no one else is actually going to do this. Like, you think people say they can do it, and then you realize, oh no one else is going to do this. So, despite whatever, I think he just figured, look, I'm gonna have to be the one to have to do this because no one else is willing to do it. And we're Australia's in a really bad fiscal situation economically, and our politicians have no plan whatsoever to get us out of it. It's all just like, oh, we're gonna give you a little tax break. Like no one's actually changing anything. It's nuts. We're just sort of like slowly marching towards the edge of a cliff because no one has the will to stop us. It's pretty crazy. Ellie says he has the mandate of the people and the mandate of heaven. Oh, Moromi, is that closing tonight on the old creative block? That would be, I'm assuming that would be Reni's. What was it called? I didn't even know the character. Well, I'm glad that you agree with me 2000%, well read. Because I think we're so evidently correct. You know, it's fun. It's been funny to watch everyone. Like, oh, we estimate there's like $1 trillion in waste that we could, stop happening, and then everyone's punchline. Thank you. Everyone's like, no, don't do that. Like, it's what? It's crazy. All right, Warred has to run to his kids' basketball practice, and I have to go to work. So, 2,000 is bigger than 1,000. That is true. So, thank you for that. Go sign up to Fractured Mind. This is your first look at the cover, and yeah, if you like it, we got a long way to go yet. The colors, I got some ideas for this. These are just the flats. But yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. We're going to launch Elysian Fields Reborn. I'm going to go to work. Have a good one. All right, bye.
Perth made an Australian video, and I wasn't even in it.
Emotional damage.